So finally getting into volume 3 of So I'm a Spider, So What. I think the best way to give a basic summary is that it's opening one door and seeing three more doors open. And it's just a continuous kind of thing. And especially with some of these major plot points that do happen in this volume where you kind of go, okay, I've now discovered one major plot point, but now I've got three more questions, and then they answer one of those questions, and then there's another three more questions, and so you end up with more questions than answers, because there's just still so much to sort of unravel in this ever-growing vast world, and so much character development going on with all the cast and all of sort of the moving cogwheels, and they keep adding more to this as well, and it's just super exciting. I'm really loving it, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes beyond there, and especially with how the anime is also doing it as well. It's just so much joy and so much excitement in reading each new volume and getting to see this world grow and grow and grow, but also I would say one of the things that is confusing is kind of the timeline thing, because there is like a different timeline for what the spider's doing and what the kids are doing, and the humans is the better way to do it, and then also the demons themselves where they're planning their attack. There's kind of a different timeline between what's going on in the cave and what's going on outside, and some of that is starting to slowly collide now, and all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, and it's just really exciting and really interesting to see what else is going to kind of piece together. I have seen definitely some fan theories on who the girl is that's running the whole thing, and then of course some theories of like people thinking that it's a spider that's the one running it because of the time difference, and that she gained all this power and then she got a human form and then decided to control this army and attack. I don't think that's the case. I don't believe that fan theory. I can understand why people believe it, but I don't think that is true. I have sort of my own inklings that I don't think they're the same person, and I think they're going to end up bumping into each other, and I think there's going to be an difference of interest in conflict, because I see the spider in the cave that's gaining all this power as much as they can be a little bit bad at times with some of the things they do, I see them as one of the good guys. And you've also got the hero as well and their friends. They're also seen in my eyes as the good people, while you see as Hugo as one of the bad guys that's now joined up with this other spider girl that's running this giant army and this big group. I see them as the bad guys, and I see two armies conflicting, and I see a lovely MC Spider joining up with the heroes and fighting against them. I assume there's obviously going to be some evolving components. Again, I'm just throwing spitball ideas of what I think may or may not happen. I might be right, and it'll be really interesting to see in, volume 4, 5, or 6 if I'm right or wrong. That's what's really fun, is just saying, okay, this is what I think might happen, and then seeing if I'm right or wrong, and then kind of reflecting on it, going, where did I go wrong? I think there's going to be two armies fighting, and I think there's going to be two spiders that have a human form, because I do kind of feel like our MC Spider is going to get a human form. I just assume that because it's just kind of like they've been evolving, and they did mention in a previous volume that there was something about an evolution where they could get a human form, and they picked the right path. So that's why I believe they'll get a human form, because they mentioned that in a previous volume. I can't remember if it was volume 1 or 2. I think it might be volume 2. But yeah, they mentioned that. So that's why I do believe they'll get a human form as well, and that's kind of where things will go. One of the big major revelations in this is, of course, with the brother's death and the hero title being passed on to, of course, the new hero, which is the younger brother, and how they're trying to keep this a secret because, all the fear, the panic, the political tug-of-war going on, and then Hugo, some ability with the 7 deadly sins, with lust and controlling females that are falling in love with him. And it's kind of funny because it falls into the whole 7 deadly sins. A lot of animes do, and a lot of light novels as well, do the 7 deadly sins, as well as mangas. It's kind of a mixture. I see a lot of stories that do the 7 deadly sins component, so it's funny that this does it, but I mean 7 deadly sins is a very common and used and known kind of thing, and it makes sense. With Hugo using lust to his potential to turn people against the hero, it's definitely made things very chaotic, and has really now put the bad guys in a strong sort of situation. They basically were at a bad situation with Volume 2, and now they're above the opposition. So how the tables have turned very quickly is definitely one of those where it's like, whoa. With Hugo now sort of taking over, claiming he is the new hero with the title, turning against technically the real hero, which was the younger brother, and then kind of making all this unrest, them having to run away, them also having to mount a rescue, and then working with the elves and the teacher. Some of the pieces of the puzzle, like I said before, are coming together, and some of the answers are there, but there are many more questions now. There's also the situation with the MC, Spider, and how there was this phone call with the girl God. I'm very, very curious who this girl is. I think it's a student. My theory and my reasoning by that is because, one, hey, they clearly came from this other world. They have cellular phones, but there are other ways of communicating as well, other than just a cell phone. It kind of feels like it's more like a kind of like a way of them showing that they know who they are, where they came from, and also giving a bit of a hint that they are also from the same place that they came from. So I do believe it's one of the students. Who it is, I'll just have to wait and see, but that's my general crackpot theory. I just think that because, one, they speak Japanese, two, they use the phone, and three, they seem to have a bit of a connection, like they kind of have an interest in them, a reasoning to be invested in them individually. So that's why I believe they're from the other world and they're isekai'd as a god. We'll just have to wait and see where that goes. That's one of my other theories. We'll have to wait and see. Overall, the story as a whole is just really exciting, and how it all ends with finally the spider getting out of the cave, that big final fight with the dragon, and how they were at an advantage, then they were at a disadvantage, then they were back at an advantage, how the dragon used all their skills, and how they also gained skill points just from aging as well. Kind of just shows that as time goes on, maybe the spider will gain some levels or some skill points and be able to gain a little bit of power naturally as a passive. But I mean, the main way they've been gaining their levels is just killing stuff and just gaining different resistances from taking damage from other opponents, etc. And gaining also resistances based on the terrain as well, especially with the lava and everything. They've got a bit of heat resistance, even though that is technically still their weakness. They've got a bit more resistance in there. So there is so much sort of moving around right now, and that's not even counting the fact that they had the humans that attacked the house, and she rocked up and then decided, hey, I'm going to now attack you, and that was a brutal victory on her part. That was like a fatality, but he was trying to tame her, and that went terribly bad. And then they realized just how many skills, how they weren't even in the same league, and how she just wiped the floor and gained more power from it as well. Not just from killing the monsters and some of the humans, but also from the fact that some of the monsters they summoned, they used their abilities on her, and then she gained resistances from those as well. So it's just constant power-ups, and I don't know, it's kind of debatable now if she's kind of overpowered or not, because I do feel like she is going to find new challenges like the dragon. So it's kind of like there are definitely those that are much weaker, but there are definitely those moments where she ends up coming up to a challenge that is much more challenging. So I just love the story as a whole, and I really do love the way, yes, it's an isekai, but it's kind of taken things in a unique, different spin. All these, core elements of the story, they've spun it up in a unique manner that I absolutely love, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of volumes 1 through 3? I'll definitely be reading volume 4 soon. I'm absolutely loving it. Again, love to know your thoughts, but if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more anime content, and I will see you beautiful nerds in the next video.